Namo Amida Buddha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, in whichever realms of existence you are, in whichever conditions you're in whatever mind states you find yourself. Welcome to my channel. Today, I wanted to talk about me trying to make it happen. One of the things I've realized in this past several months with what's gone on is how much over the past 13, 14, 15 years along this path, the Jodo Shinshu path, that I've been trying to make it happen myself, trying to make Shinjin happen myself, trying to have faith myself through SelfPower without really realizing it. And obviously I must have been doing that when I convinced myself at least 3 times that I had Shinjin and didn't, and wasn't honest with myself about my doubts and fears, or doubts and questions. I mean, well, fears fit in there, I suppose, too. But because the whole it's just ironic, and I still have that impulse. But even though I know, like through this past several months, the experience of the past several months, that's one of the things that I've realized very strongly, how I'm trying to make Shinjin happen myself through my own power, how I'm trying to have faith, give myself faith, and somehow when I know the teaching is that it comes from Amida. And the longer I've been in this, the longer it took me a while for that to really seep into my brain. It took a long time for that part of the teaching, just how that happens and what it happens. I mean, now that we can understand it, it's an inconceivable kind of thing, but to just get that part of it took a long time, to get that part of it, that truly Shinjin comes from Amida. The faith mind comes from Amida. The faith mind consciousness, one thought moment. There's different ways it's referred to in the writings, the Jodo Shinshu writings. But it comes from Amida. There's no way that an ordinary being like myself could generate that kind of faith. And it's actually, as a ordinary bamboo being in samsara, it's actually quite a natural thing to have doubts and to question things. At least for this bamboo, anyway. That's just kind of part of the samsaric makeup. You don't really trust things. And with my last video, you can see I really don't trust things. I really don't trust people. I really don't trust reality. I don't really trust it. With good reason. It's samsara. It's samsaric existence. It's not something you can really trust. Not something that you can really rely on for anything. So it's natural for me to have doubts. But it's not natural for me to have faith. That has to come from Amida. It's not natural. No, I shouldn't say it's not natural for me to have faith. It's for me, just from me, that would be unnatural for me to be able to generate faith. Not only as a samsaric being, but just based on my own life, it's just not something that I can bring about. I've tried to in various ways, obviously, and tried to within Jodo Shinshu as well. Tried to within the Pure Land path, So that really has to come from Amida, letting Amida give me that faith mind, letting Amida instill faith in my heart, install faith in my heart mind, through his power, his vow power, his, however that works, letting him do it. And in the meantime, just doing the other things that we're taught to do. Work with a good teacher, listen deeply to the Dharma, or deeply hear the Dharma, and trust as best I can to Amida, and wish to go to his land and say his name, Namo Amida Buddha. Just in the meantime, that's what we do. And for me that's difficult, because when doubts really arise, and when I start to look at it all and questions arise, it really is disturbing for me. It's really visceral, and frustrating. And I've talked about that before in other videos. So it's difficult. It's difficult to just say, okay, stay on the path, do the things, do what the teaching prescribes. But that's what I need to do. That's what I need to develop. That's what I need to, or not develop, but it's not any kind of mind state or practice or anything. I just have to do that. It's simple. Just do those simple things. And I suppose, another thing I can do is change the focus when, yes, have the doubts and questions, ask the questions of a teacher or Dharma guide. Ask the questions, express the doubts, discuss them, and all of that. But the rest of the time, change the focus to Amida when the doubts and, don't forget about them. I wouldn't suppress them. I'm not going to suppress the doubts or questions, but when I have that visceral reaction to having the doubts and the questions, and the frustration of it, and the impatience and the jealousy of other people that have Shinjin, and all of those things arise, I can at those times change the focus to Amida, as Josho Adrian Curlia teaches or suggests about doing, which is really helpful and really useful. And that's about all I can do. Amida has to do the work, and it has something to do with my own karma in terms of it ripening to the point where I'm open fully to his light, to Amida's light. So the light's always there, the light's always working, the light's permeating everywhere. It's just whether I'm open or not. And I continue to become open through deep hearing, working with a teacher, all the things I just said. Entrusting Amida as best I can, wishing to go to his land and saying his name. That's how I become open. But there's also this component of the ripening of one's karma to be open to the light fully, and to be able to fully entrust. And there's not really much I can do other than what I've already said, that I can do. I can't really change my karma. I can't really, I don't have that capacity, that power. And so that's why this is a work that Amida has to do. This is work that Amida Buddha has to do for us. Bit of traffic nearby, so hopefully you can still hear me. I'll speak a bit louder. So that's the work Amida has to do. Amida has to open me. Amida has to. He can't work against karma just like any other Buddha or Bodhisattva. They can't work against the law of karma. They can't, but somehow Amida can cut off the future seeds of my karmic destiny. The future, you can cut off the seeds of my karma, but can't change the past karma, if you see what I mean, up to the present. His vow power, his light, his merit transference can cut the seeds off of my future karma. But my past causes have to ripen. And obviously they've ripened enough for me to get to this point where get to the point where I'll, first of all, could encounter Buddhism, at all, and then could encounter Pure Land Buddhism and Amida. So obviously my karma has ripened enough to get to that point, which makes me feel confident that it is possible for it to ripen the rest of the way in this lifetime before I die, so that Amida so that I'm fully open to Amida's light and Dharma and power. And Amida can give me Shinjin. But it has to be Amida. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it. There's no way I'm going to be able to bring about faith in my mind. That's just not a possibility, sadly. And that wouldn't even be Amida's Dharma. If there was some practice to bring about faith mind by one's own power. I'm not even sure what that would be, but anyway, I suppose there's some kind of equivalent in SelfPower Buddhism of that nature. Just about the teachings in general, about the Buddhist teachings, about Buddha nature, whatever. There's probably something equivalent in the way of the sages to bring about faith mind. But for an ordinary being, I can't do it. I don't have that possibility. I don't have that option. And so it's one of those things you have to just kind of relax, just relax and let it happen whenever it's going to happen. And just turn your thoughts toward Amida. Change the focus, I should say. Change the focus toward Amida. Yeah. I mean, there's not much else really to say. about that. There's not really, it's just a matter of that. It's just a matter of Amida doing it. And I can't do it. Just like I can't become enlightened myself. I just don't have the karmic causes to do that. I can't bring about my faith mind. I can't bring about faith within me. Only Amida can do that. And I truly, truly wish for him to do that so freaking badly. I wish it so strongly and so badly. And it, is that part of the self-power impulse? I don't know. Or if that's just a natural thing once you know about Amida, you want to have that faith mind. I don't know. These are lots of more questions I need to ask my Dharma guide. And under the guidance of my teacher, Kobai Sensei. I think that's about it for today, so Namo Amida Buddha.